This is the latest report courtesy of Ian Rapaport of the NFL Network. The Houston Texans and San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator DeMeco Ryans could meet as soon as this afternoon as he handles his San Francisco responsibilities. If all goes well, a hire could be finalized Tuesday or Wednesday. Their top candidate all along, it appears a homecoming is on its way to happening. Interesting to note that this has been their top candidate all along. Perhaps even more of a top candidate than Sean Payton, which maybe always was a pipe dream. Anyway, Ian Rapaport had this to say on the NFL Network late on Sunday about what's going on between the Houston Texans and DeMeco Ryans.
Be getting some good news. DeMeco Ryans, who late this week emerged as the favorite for the Houston Texans head coaching job. Of course, his season is over, his team's season is over, which is all bad, except it does clear the path for him to be named the Houston Texans head coach at some point later in this week. Here's where it stands. He is considered to be the favorite. The Denver Broncos, who also had significant interest in DeMeco Ryans, after interviewing him, they have received indication that his attention is headed elsewhere. Houston, of course, where he played, a former second-round linebacker and a former captain there. So he's going to do a second interview with the Texans this week, assuming all goes well, and it should. He will be named the Texans' next head coach, the second hire of this cycle.
It's interesting to take all of that in because it also means that the Denver Broncos head coaching job was not that good of a job, at least in the eyes of a lot of coaching candidates out there. And if you've been listening to this show long enough, you'd know why. It's not just that Russell Wilson maybe won't be the same player again. There's a chance he will be the same guy again. That job is not as good of a job because of all the dynamic that come with having Russell Wilson as your quarterback. The man might stab you in the back and have you deposited in, what was the river in Rome? The Tiber River, like what the Romans used to do all the time. Someone gets assassinated, boom, you get thrown in the river. It's a big deal back in the day. It's like a rite of passage if you were to get murked.
I thought you were going to say chop you up into pieces, put you in Tupperware containers, and then throw acid on you. Like
Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I should have done that. It's a little more current.
It's also in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. I'm just way too into Rome. I've been watching the television show Rome, which I've seen multiple times before from 2003 over the last couple of days. Russell Wilson's someone who stabs his coaches in the back, offensive coordinators, head coaches. Do you want to deal with that when that guy's making all of the money? I think it would be difficult. And you look at this Texans coaching gig. I know there are lots of reasons to look at it and say to yourself, would I really want to take this on given the lack of job security for the last two head coaches? 1 year, goodbye, David Culley. 1 year, goodbye, Lovie Smith. But all along, I thought this was the second best gig to that of the Carolina Panthers. That gig is gone. Frank Reich got that one. So now the Texans look like they're going to end up getting DeMeco Ryans. And it's hard to really think of a way to criticize this. We obviously really don't know what's going to happen whenever you hire a head coach. It is a very inexact science. Maybe not as much of an inexact science as hiring a general manager across sports. But now it's a matter of, okay, you got a guy who is exciting in DeMeco Ryans, who is young, who has ties to this organization in the past, who is well-liked in the city because of that. These are all great ways to get going. Here is my question about it. And this is more just natural skepticism setting in. From what I understand, the Houston Texans are a lot more self-aware than they've been in the last, 2 to 3 years. This specific moment in time right now. They're listening to people saying, hey, maybe you need to shake up the uniform. They were listening to people saying, hey, maybe Jack Easterby needs to be out of the building entirely. They have listened a lot. They know what everyone is saying. They're probably even eavesdropping on this radio show right now. For better or for worse, their rabbit ears are a little bit bigger right now. And I feel like they have heard a lot of people clamoring, not just online, but perhaps sending emails into the organization even, saying, hey, DeMeco Ryans is the right guy to hire. To an extent, it feels like this is some fan service. And I think one thing we can agree on, fan service is great sometimes, until you see the execution. The idea of fan service is awesome, right? But take a look at the last trilogy of Star Wars movies and all the nostalgic callbacks that you had, from Emperor Palpatine to the Millennium Falcon, whatever you want. Did that trilogy work out? That's not to say that because the last 3 Star Wars movies sucked, that DeMeco Ryans is going to suck. It just feels like they are hiring him because fans want him to be the next head coach of the team. Good, right? Everyone's going to be happy for now. Ultimately, it's all about what happens. Is he the most qualified candidate? I feel like you can make a very strong argument as to him being up there. The most, I don't know that I can necessarily say that he is a better candidate than Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator of the Eagles, Jonathan Gannon, the defensive coordinator of the Eagles. We really do not know. Mike Kafka, the offensive coordinator for the New York Giants. But I'm very happy if they were to hire him. I think we all should be happy if they were to hire him. I'm just saying it feels a little bit like fan service. It does seem like the Houston Texans are about to hire DeMeco Ryans as their next head coach. We'll keep you posted with any details that we might get over the course of this morning's show. My question of today's show, fill in the 2 blanks. Your opinion of the Texans will go from blank to blank if they officially hire DeMeco Ryans. And I've said I'm going to go from to That's it. Those aren't words, I know. But sometimes the noises we make are just as powerful. Some comments from the text line, 713-780-3776. Would Paulie's people, Paulie's people? What does that mean? Am I speaking now for the whites? Would Paulie's people be okay with a flip-flop from DeMeco Ryans to Jim Harbaugh? That is asked by Bear on the text line. It's pretty funny that Jim Harbaugh's name has even resurfaced this weekend. The Broncos all of a sudden thought to themselves, oh God, what do we do here? That's what happens sometimes when you get a new ownership group in. They got all that money, great, but what are you going to do with that money? Are you actually going to make the right decisions? Some other comments about the actual Texans coaching search. Zebtacular on twitch.tv/ESPN975 says, I sure hope Ryan's success is not only because he's not, I'm confused by the double negatives here, is not only because he's not involved with an offense. We've only seen him influencing a defense. What about an offense? Okay, now I understand what he was saying. Here's the big thing that Ryans is going to have to do. He's going to have to delegate some offensive responsibilities. And I'm very curious as to who he's going to be delegating those responsibilities to. If you've been working on the defensive side of the football for the entirety of your career, both as a player and as an assistant coach, it's not to say you're not going to be involved in some meetings that have to do with the other teams that you're going up against the offense and, of course, what the team that you're a part of, the 49ers, are doing offensively. But what kind of say do you have, and how much have you seen as far as how the sausage is made during a weekly preparation for a game when it comes to the offense? Those are questions that remain to be seen. But the name DeMeco Ryans is exciting. You're allowed to be excited about it. The only thing I wonder about is if this is perhaps too much fan service. Troy has a thought, 713-780-3776 on the most interactive sports talk show in Houston. Troy, what's going on?
I just want to answer the question y'all asked about what do you think about the Texans, whether they get DeMeco Ryans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to go from trash to drinkable.
Trash
water.
to what? What was the last thing you said?
From trash to drinkable water in Galveston.
Oh,
so,
okay. So
that's
not...
there. I don't personally see what, like I said, I can't take nothing from DeMeco Ryans, but the lackluster of the people that we have, like, that ain't the coach's fault when you got a bunch of guys who really act like they don't want to play. And they've been acting like they don't want to play in Houston for a while. And then it's like, we just got to get some guys who really want to play out here in Houston. And I think it starts with getting like somebody like DeMeco Ryans first, and then just start grabbing guys who want to really play football. Like,
Troy, I'm going to push back on the idea that they don't want to play. I just don't think they're good. Brandon Cooks didn't want to play. Laramie Tunsil last year didn't want to play, but Tunsil played great this past season. I'm talking about the 2021 year where Laramie Tunsil's staying away the whole season. That wasn't a great look, but he came back. He had an awesome season. I mean, he probably should have been an All-Pro. He wasn't an All-Pro. Okay, that's fine. He was on a team that wasn't very good. You can kind of understand why. Davis Mills probably did not help him out very much, being as underwhelming as he was. But the idea that they go from being trash to drinkable water in Galveston, yeah, that doesn't make you feel good. I mean, how much water in Galveston has the flesh-eating bacteria in it? And that's nothing against our friends in Galveston. Galveston's nice to visit. I might go down there for Mardi Gras in a couple of weeks. But am I going to go in the water? Is anyone going to go in the water? How many people have actually gone in Galveston water? Did you sprout a third arm? Third leg? Third leg, Greg? Great questions, Paul. You will go from feeling blank to feeling blank about the Houston Texans if they end up hiring DeMeco Ryans, which per Ian Rapaport is likely to happen. We do have some texts on the most interactive sports talk show in Houston from meh to meh. Proven on the field. You wouldn't feel excited at all? Look, it's okay to be excited about it. It does feel rather fan service to hire DeMeco Ryans because he's a guy that used to play for the team, and everyone is pushing for it. And it seems like people are pushing for it just because he does have past ties with the team, and he's young, and he's exciting. But we don't 100% know. I still think, though, that you should allow yourself to be somewhat excited if they are able to pull this off. Everyone seems to want him. Great. Maybe it works out. Eric, the driver, says, I would go from feeling bad about the Texans to, all right then, if the Texans hire DeMeco Ryans. Okay. Todd the Show pointed this out, though. This is, I think, a good point. And it has to do with this idea of DeMeco Ryans as the best candidate among all the Texans coaching candidates. Really difficult to quantify who is good and who isn't good. He says, Texans fans have been saying they want an offensive coordinator for head coach this entire year and are now going to risk it all because the guy played for the team. And that's a fair observation. That is about where we are. And he's going to have to find a good offensive coordinator. It's very strange that Pep Hamilton has turned down interview requests with other teams and is staying here. Perhaps that has to do with his son, who I believe plays high school football in the area. I'm not 100% sure of why. Maybe Pep Hamilton just wants to stick around here for the next couple of years or something like that. Honestly, I don't know. That's just some speculation I'm throwing out there. But DeMeco Ryans is going to have to find a good offensive coordinator to pair with whoever they end up taking with the second pick in the draft, which I would assume would be a quarterback. Though there have been some smoke screens already. Should they pull off the hiring of DeMeco Ryans, you will go from feeling blank to blank. I've said that I'll go from feeling about the Texans to about the Houston Texans. That doesn't mean that I think DeMeco Ryans will succeed or not succeed. Honestly, who's to really say? All you know is that he's a young, exciting defensive coordinator who clearly has done a great job with that San Francisco defense over the last couple of years. A defense that does have talent. There's Fred Warner. There's Nick Bosa. But as far as the candidates that are available right now, I don't think anyone shines more brightly, and I would include Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon, who is out. He basically took his name out of the running in a post-game interview. Eagles offensive coordinator Shane Steichen. Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka. DeMeco Ryans, of all the candidates right now, and including Frank Reich hired in Carolina, is the most sexy candidate available. And if they get him in, I understand any excitement that you guys might have.
I do feel like he is probably the safest, like as far as like, I know that they will at least have a good defense because DeMeco Ryans is here. I feel very confident in that because if they kept Lovie and just, I know they wouldn't have done this, but just hired DeMeco Ryans as the defensive coordinator, I'd be like, hell yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know about that.
Really?
I don't know if I'd go that far as to say that the defense will definitively be good. I thought that with Lovie Smith as defensive coordinator
Lovie Smith
/ head coach,
95-year-old man,
still
running an outdated defense.
I thought they would be better than they were this year. They sucked. They were not good at all. They couldn't stop the run. They were getting pushed around at the line of scrimmage, and I know that they don't have that much talent. But I don't think it's as simple as DeMeco Ryans shows up and this defense is good. I don't think that.
I just trust the scheme better than the cover
Fair
two.
enough. Fair enough.
Which was figured out in 2005.
You are right on that front. He was so married to that one scheme, and it didn't even feel like he was playing that scheme to his young corner Derek Stingley's strengths. So there's some reasons to get ticked off with Lovie Smith. I don't think that DeMeco Ryans takes over, though, and that the defense gets better, because I also think we're looking at a guy that likely will be delegating a lot of responsibilities as head coach, and you're hoping that he can be some sort of Mike Vrabel type. But you need a good offensive coordinator. You're probably going to need to have some good defensive coordinator as well. I'm sure he'll be able to handpick that from the San Francisco 49ers staff, but is he going to be able to find an offensive coach? And look, it's worth saying, this is a very fan-servicey move. It's not to say that it's going to end in disaster. All I'm saying is this is a guy who played for the organization before, and for a team that clearly is listening a lot more than they've ever listened, to hire this guy makes a lot of people happy in March, February, April. I don't know why I did the months in the wrong order, but you get what I'm saying here. This is something that makes people excited leading up to the start of the year. And the Texans, I think, at this point in time, are just as much about that, rehabilitating their image, as they are about, finding truly the best head coach. That is a factor that has to do with what they do at head coach, and it's a factor that has to do with what they do with that number 2 overall pick. Or, if as reported by Warren Sapp, and I say that in extreme quotation marks, they try to trade up into the number 1 pick, that is a factor in some of their decisions. And for some, that might be annoying. I'm a little annoyed by it myself, but I get why they're there, and I don't entirely blame them for operating that way.
Yeah, see, that's the part that I really have issue with, is the fact that DeMeco Ryans was seemingly the number 1 option because he's DeMeco Ryans. It's like, okay. If DeMeco Ryans just chose the Denver job, who are we hiring then? Danielle Manning? Are we
Andre Johnson, bring him back.
Who's next? Brian Cushing. What are we, that's the part that always rubs me the wrong way. When you go, it's like a college team trying to hire the alma mater kind of thing, where it's don't do that.
But Sean, had DeMeco Ryans said, I'm going to take the Denver job over the weekend,
people have been jumping out of buildings.
Right. People would be losing their mind here. So I do think you should keep the same energy. If they hire Ryans, the people out there who would have jumped out of buildings because you're almost looking for something to get mad at the Texans about. There are a lot of people out there who are just looking for things to get mad at the organization about. You should feel pretty happy about them hiring him. My skepticism is that they are looking at this from a public relations perspective because of their self-awareness, which only came to be within the last 2 years. And to their credit, it's good that they're self-aware. It took way too long, but it's good that they're self-aware. Just remember that this is not the best way to make decisions, is by doing the things that are going to make everyone love you. Because it's really about what the coach is going to be doing come September. But this will earn them a lot of cool points, brownie points, over the course of the offseason if they are officially able to bring DeMeco Ryans in. And it does feel like things are trending that way. Mega on Twitch says, I would go from I bleeping hate the Texans, all caps, exclamation point, to, See, that's good. That's what we're looking for.
That's about where I'm at.
Yeah.
Not that extreme, but I am I view them as in the basement. Now they're on the ground floor.
Yeah.
They're now just a normal bad NFL team.
Right, exactly. If they get DeMeco Ryans. And again, not a done deal yet, but
God, it'd be so funny if they don't.
Don't put that energy out there, Sean.
So funny.
Sean, we were almost at the finish line. You're doing what everybody's doing online.
You brought it. You're well, it's not a done deal. This
It's
entire
not, though.
time, I just assumed it was a done deal.
It's not a done deal.
For the first time, I considered wow, what if the rich Denver Broncos owners are how about $30 million a year to be our coach? and then now the Texans have to go back to Shane Steichen.
You're the one that's putting this out there.
No.
I didn't. This is not me. That is you.
I'm just saying, what if? Just
What if? What if?
Just live in the world of like we're starting the show the day after DeMeco Ryans is introduced as the Denver Broncos.
Sean, I can't. I tweeted about this over the weekend. Some of the absolute meows on Twitter that were like, oh my God, what if the Texans don't get DeMeco Ryans? I'm going to be sad.
Oh, I'm not doing I'm going to be sad.
There were people saying that, and it was outrageous. The amount of people. I actually started, I had a couple of drinks on Friday, and I just started tweeting, like, how about they hire Pep Hamilton just to piss those people off? It's crazy. What if they don't hire DeMeco Ryans, I'm going to kill myself. Like, they're probably going to be bad even if they do hire him. This is going to be a process. And you guys are like so absolutely certain that this guy's going to be a great head coach. I'm not even saying he won't. I'm excited by the news. But some of the people that are like weighing in on this, you have such a warped, depressed outlook on this. This job, it wasn't the worst job available. And you're all like, oh, they're so bad. Like you're freaking Eeyore. Relax.
Can I be honest?
Yeah?
Now I kind of want DeMeco Ryans to not be the Texans coach.
You're such a bastard. The Pocket Watch Show, don't go anywhere. You will go from feeling blank to feeling blank if the Houston Texans complete the hiring. A texter, I would go from not even turning on the television during their games to letting them play in the background. Okay. Another texter, I would go from I don't give a bleep to feeling like I still don't give a bleep. So there's a lot of this indifference, but here's what I actually think. And it goes to what Sean was saying in the last segment. Sean Mapes behind the glass doesn't want DeMeco Ryans here on the record.
I think it would be funny if he wasn't here. After all this.
So you don't want him here.
I'm good with either one, to be honest. I always win. Because if DeMeco Ryans spurns the Texans, that would be just too hilarious. It would just be, the fallout would be hilarious. And then the, like, follow-up tweet of, like, now the Texans basically have to restart their search, and they're flying out to go meet with Jason Garrett, and, that would just be, oh, man.
You're like so many Houston Texans fans out there. Can we all be honest? If you are a Houston Texans fan listening right now, can we be honest? I mean, you're probably a masochist. You want them to be bad still, don't you? Don't you? I think there's enough people out there, Sean, that secretly they're such miserable fans. And I don't, by the way, it's totally understandable. They're such miserable. This is all they know, and this is all they want. They want it to keep going. It's like part of their identity. This just deep, rotting stench of Texans football every single Sunday. A big old fart in a jar wafting into your nostrils. You secretly love it.
I don't even really want them to be bad. I don't really care either way. I just want the, like you're talking about, the Twitter meltdown. I just want the meltdown.
Yes, because you're miserable, Sean.
Well, yeah, but not because of the Texans.
Yeah, you are a fan of this misery just lingering in the air like a dense fog. You want it, and some of you people listening right now, you want it too, and you have no shame.
The thing is, the DeMeco, actually hiring DeMeco Ryans just doesn't get my blood, pumping. But then, like, the idea, why? No one knows if he's going to be a good coach. Yes, you said it yourself. No one knows.
It should get your blood pumping a little bit.
Just because he was on the Texans when I was a kid, I should love this hire. That's stupid.
You're allowed to love it for a moment.
I don't.
You people are all so miserable. You're a bunch of trash can living Oscars, and it's appropriate that this segment is garbage time. You people, you sit in your trash can and you fester, and you really just want the team to continue to suck because you like the repetition of this sitcom. You people, there's enough of you out there. This is not the majority, but there's enough people out there. You love that this team stinks. You love it because you don't know anything else and you want it to keep going.
What I will say is that it's more entertaining when they're an absolute clown show disaster than when they go 8-8 and win the division. And then you have a very clear ceiling on, well, you're not going to win anything, so congrats. But just grinding your way to 9-7 division titles, meh.
Listen,
being an absolute clown show, just like everyone being like, oh my God, they did get DeMeco Ryans. What are they going to do now?
Those were decent seasons. I know people get worked up about it, but like, can we pause for a moment? Imagine you miserable person, sticking your nose up. No, everybody. You sticking your nose up at an AFC South. Just imagine that.
It's because those seasons came with like, cool, we won the AFC South, and so now we're going to get dog-walked by the Patriots or the Ravens or any of the real playoff teams.
It's better than where we're at right now, and you guys are like, oh,
it's
this
about
is
the same.
Terrible. Oh, I deserve better. I know what better football is. I know for sure.
Yeah, I watch every other team play it.
It's time for garbage time.
Oh, I love trash.
Garbage time.
It's garbage.
Starts now.
I'm the trash man.
This is garbage.
Some of you people, I just think you want to remain miserable at all times. There's someone out there right now who's like, I hope they mess this up at the last meeting.
The thing is, this wouldn't make me miserable. It'd make everyone else miserable. And I want everyone else to be miserable.
Whatever you got to tell
yourself.
yourself.
Which is even more pathetic.
This is positive news, and of course, this is where it goes because of you miserable people like Sean.
It took an hour and 45 minutes for me to get to that point.
Well, yeah, you said it's Sean Mapes in the last segment, guys. This is what jump-started this. He was like, yeah, I kind of hope that they messed this up.
Well, because you're talking about how people would flip out if they don't hire him, and then that got me thinking, that is funny.
They will.
Yeah, and I want that. I don't want this is a great hire. Things are blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Give me a disaster where they win 4 games. Instead of we're headed in the right direction, they win 6 games. Who cares?
You're the absolute worst. It's good to win games. You people, oh man. Oh, they won a game and now they're not gonna have the #1 overall draft pick. Oh god. They can't draft the quarterback who's smaller than Paul Gallant. Oh, no. Like, you're just always miserable people. Jeez. Have a drink.